Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today. Welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. Going to be talking about every movie I watched last week, and I had a pretty chill week last week. I only ended up watching 12 movies, which is very chill for me, actually. I think that's tied for my lowest of the year. Yeah, I mean, over the 9 days that I was visiting my parents in Ontario, I watched 25 movies. I'm so sorry if you hear that toy. That's Betty. Yeah, I watched 25 movies, and this was kind of a nice break to chill out a little bit. I watched 4 on Friday and then chilled for the weekend because I was away. I ended up just watching a movie a day, so... Yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Starting it off with the newest movie of the year that I've seen, at least, which is also my least favorite watch of the week, The Old Guard 2. Which, it was okay, you know. I don't really think either of these two movies are anything too good or too bad. I don't really think they're good or bad either. Like, I don't think there's really anything positive or negative about them. I feel like they're pretty middle-of-the-line movies, and as far as Netflix original goes, I've definitely seen worse things. I don't think these are actually half bad for Netflix, so yeah, but sometimes a mindless action movie just isn't for me, and that's kind of what both of these movies are. So 47 out of 100 for The Old Guard 2, and The Old Guard, I ranked a 49 out of 100. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the first one a little bit more. Overall, though, they're pretty much on par with each other. Neither of them are really anything, I guess, to each their own for enjoying it. I know a lot of people do enjoy these movies, actually, especially a lot of people that I personally know, but yeah. Let's move on to the Cloverfield Paradox. The Cloverfield Paradox, which I ranked a 52 out of 100. I was kind of enjoying this movie for most of it, and I've heard some pretty poor things about this movie. Ultimately, I don't think it's that bad. It's just... sometimes a movie has a twist, which is fine. I like a good twist. A lot of movies have twists. That's totally fine. Some movies have a twist and then another twist. But this movie just had twist after twist after twist after twist after twist, which really, I think it just makes a plot worse, makes a movie worse. And sometimes it just feels like there's a twist for the sake of there being a twist. So... that kind of sucks, and that definitely took away from my enjoyment of this movie, because for a while I was really just enjoying the sci-fi and the science behind this movie, and yeah, I mean, it was okay. 52 out of 100. Well, let's move on to Total Recall, which I watched the original Total Recall last week, or 2 weeks ago now, and watched this remake with Colin Farrell this week, which was decent. Well, it was kind of mid, but it was almost decent. I was enjoying it a little bit. I actually quite enjoyed some of the changes made from the original. Of course, there's lots of callbacks to the original, but this is a very different world than the original, and I did kind of like the world that we're in. It's a very dark, it's a very gritty world, and it's really gross, but honestly, CGI looked pretty solid, and the action was pretty solid as well. It's just, again, sometimes a mindless action movie just isn't for me. It's usually not, and it was okay. You know, I ranked it a 54 out of 100. I didn't hate it, that's for sure. Let's move on to my oldest of the week, and actually one of the oldest movies I've ever watched, which is Bambi, which I ranked a 60 out of 100. Thought it was decent. Thematically, it's a little weird. This movie is really cute and kid-friendly, and then it gets to a very dramatic halt, and then it just completely tonal change, or just a complete tonal change to just a romance movie, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, some movies genre hop or whatever, but I don't know, it just felt really weird. I was not expecting this at all in Bambi, and the climax never really hit as much as I kind of expected it to, but maybe it's because it's like up there with like Vader's "I Am Your Father," you know, like it's one of the most iconic things in all of cinema. And I talked to Mel about it this week, it's one. I mean, obviously everyone knows Baby's mom dies, and like I said, it's one of the most iconic things in cinema. And sometimes that still hits. I didn't really feel that. I see a lot of people saying how gorgeous this movie is, which it's very greatly animated, especially back for 1942. Yeah, I guess emotionally it didn't really hit for me, but a lot of people do feel invested into these characters. And yeah, I mean, really, I feel invested into these characters mostly just because I'm really rooting against the hunters. Because even though I do eat meat and whatever, I have really, really kind of changed my opinion on hunting animals this year. And for a couple times this year, I've really questioned why I eat meat, because it really hurts me in my soul. Genuinely, it hurts a lot about how animals are getting how animals get hunted for food, and it just hurts me like that. So I kind of like connected with the movie that way, but ultimately, it just didn't really. I don't know. It just didn't really hit the way I was kind of hoping it would. So yeah, Bambi I ranked a 60 out of 100. Let's move on to Sisu, which I ranked a 62 out of 100. And Sisu was a decent movie. Again, like a mindless action movie. I don't know why. That was kind of my genre of the week, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it was decent. I definitely enjoyed the action more in this out of all the previous ones I mentioned. That's probably why this one's a little bit higher. It's very gory, it's brutal, and I kind of like that. And I had a good time with it. Sisu I ranked a 62 out of 100. Let's move on to Dog Day Afternoon, which I believe this is Sidney Lumet. Sidney Lumet is a director I want to go through more this year, and this was obviously this is one of his most popular movies. So I'm glad I was able to watch that this week, and I did quite enjoy Dog Day Afternoon. I feel like I would have enjoyed this more if I got to finish it in one sitting. Unfortunately, I had to split this up into two different sittings, so wasn't able to finish it all in one sitting, which I think could have probably been a benefit towards my enjoyment and viewing of this movie. But yeah, still, I enjoyed it. Sorry. Guess it's time for bed. Still, I enjoyed it. Ranked it a 71 out of 100. It's really ahead of its time for the subject matter, and yeah, it's a good movie. 71 out of 100. Well, let's move on to 10 Cloverfield Lane. This is a good movie, and it has a surprising climax that I really wasn't expecting, because I fully thought that John Goodman was just making this shit up. I feel like a lot of people kind of went in that direction and thought that way, and I really wasn't expecting there to be that, that Cloverfield, alien invasion. But yeah, that was kind of a surprising climax, and I really enjoyed that. So that was really awesome. Yeah, it was a good movie. I like how claustrophobic it is. It's good, and I really like Dan Trachtenberg, who is making the best Predator content that we've ever had. So shout out to Dan Trachtenberg. Well, let's move on to The Wrestler, which is one of the last of Darren Aronofsky's filmography I want to go through. I think the last one now is Mother that I really wanted to watch, so maybe I'll do that this week. We'll see. But yeah, ranked The Wrestler an 81 out of 100. This is a fantastic acting performance. And obviously, I'm sure you guys know I'm a wrestling fan, and it's really cool to see this movie and really see the darker side of wrestling, especially on the indies. It's a brutal sport, especially when you see kind of a not so popularized promotion trying to provide entertainment for the 50 to 100 fans in attendance. It's kind of sad seeing it sometimes, because it's a hard job, and I can only imagine what those people are putting their bodies through. Clearly, you can see it in this movie, and yeah, this is a great movie. 81 out of 100. Let's move on to Monster, which I ranked an 82 out of 100, and this and my favorite watch of the week both kind of ripped my heart out in similar but different ways, because Monster is really about children losing their childhood, and losing their innocence, which really, really hurt my soul a lot, especially after last week being away with my parents, and then my stepbrother and his two kids had come up to visit as well, and seeing my nephew, who was like 12, and just seeing how he's grown, and how my niece just started high school this year, just finished her first year of high school, and obviously I've been around their entire lives, so it's interesting to see these two kids that I've known as kids, kind of like younger brother and sister for me, to see them as starting to become more mature, one of them starting to become like a young adult, and yeah, it's just kind of ripped my heart out, and it kind of hurts. Monster's a great movie that I would really recommend to anyone. This is a great movie. Please watch it. Ranked it at 82 out of 100. Well, let's move on to my second favorite watch of the week, which was The Truman Show, which I ranked at 84 out of 100. This is a pretty good movie as well, obviously. This is one of the most popular movies on Letterboxd, actually, as well. And although I didn't love this movie as much as some people do, I think it's a great movie. Technically, it's really amazing. It's a fantastic director in Peter Weir, I believe. And yeah, this is it was a pretty special movie just because of how technically amazing this movie is. And I really, enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. It's very creative. It's very unique as well. That's a good thing. Sometimes we need more unique films. So 84 out of 100 for The Truman Show. And let's move on to my favorite watch of the week, which was easily my favorite watch of the week, which is Grave of the Fireflies, which this was undoubtedly the most I've ever cried, I think, at anything. This was absolutely brutal. This movie really, really, really hurt me. The final 15 minutes, and for me, the following 30 minutes to 45 minutes was an absolute drain of emotions. I was absolutely exhausted after watching this movie because it was one of the hardest things I've ever sat through, and this is one of the most brutal and depressing depictions of war I've ever seen. It was absolutely gut-wrenching, and it was so heartbreaking. It's a really slow burn to eventually get to the climax that absolutely breaks your heart. And I mean, I didn't know, like, truthfully, I didn't know what was going to happen, but every second that went by, I just knew the inevitable was coming, and it eventually did, and it did not make it any easier on me. And again, it's about these two kids that are losing their innocence, losing their childhood, becoming adults when they shouldn't have to, and how adults have abandoned them in this war as well. They are alone. It's like a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old. Like, yeah, man, yeah. This movie really, really hit me in an emotional way that I was not expecting. I didn't know it was going to be so sad. Typically, anime movies are not this sad, but fuck, man, this was, like I said, truthfully, it might have been the thing I've cried the most to. I was, like, blubbering. Like, even worse, you can read my review, even worse, after this movie, I went over to Betty, and she was on bed. She gets in our bed sometimes, and we have a king-size bed, and Betty is literally, like, this big on the bed, and she's just so little. And I just literally cried on her for 5 to 6 minutes, probably, before she eventually got up and walked away. She was probably getting tired of me crying on her. And she's so small and she's so little. And I don't know. It was a really emotional night for me, and I struggled. So, with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.